Hey rock stars, Eric Piguero here, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking to John Einarsen from OEO Energy Solutions. They're a chamber member, and you're going to love this topic, especially if you operate out of a commercial warehouse or big giant facilities that has a lot of lighting and a lot of electricity costs. This is for you, so stay tuned. Hey, John, thank you so much for being on the podcast. How are you today, my friend?
I'm doing great. How about yourself, Eric?
I'm doing great. And I am excited about this subject because I actually am a beneficiary of your type of program. It might even be your company, who knows? That a couple of months ago, actually more like 6 months ago, just to let everybody in on our conversation, somebody approached me on the street, actually knocked on the door, and I answered the door, and they were offering me LED lights to upgrade my home. And I'm like, oh, not interested, whatever. I thought they were trying to sell me something, right?
Sure.
And the guy pulls out a sample bill, and he showed me where the state collects a little bit of tax or something like that. And he goes, and this is how you get it back in certain ways. We want to upgrade your LEDs because it taxes, not taxes, but it takes off the burden from, I guess, the
person using the products itself. It takes the load off the grid,
the
so it
grid.
lowers demand on the grid.
Yes. So I'm really excited to talk about this. So tell us a little bit about your program and exactly what it is that you guys do.
Sure. So my company is OEO Energy Solutions. I'm the president over here, and we've been around since 1996. Our primary focus is working with different not trade associations, but chambers of commerce around the country, where together with the utility in those particular areas, we're able to offer a program to the business community via the Chamber of Commerce for people who have eligible electric accounts, which basically means, are you a business customer of any particular utility? In your case, out in the Maryland area, it would be Baltimore Gas and Electric or Delmarva. And so we reach out to our fellow chamber members via the chamber, who sponsor a lot of their programs, to do the outreach to let fellow chamber members know that they can receive zero cost or free, whatever the word is you want to use, LED lights from OEO, and the simplicity of the program is the best thing. The business community just lets us know, here's how many lights we currently use, here's how many 4-foot tube lights we use, and here's how many warehouse lights we need, and here's how many outdoor parking lot or wall pack, they call them, the ones that stick to the side of the building or mounted on the side of the building. Let us know. We ship them out. That's the simplicity of it. The only catch to the program, if there is one, is that if somebody's using, $5,000 worth of lights or needs $5,000 worth of lights to replace their existing inefficient system, we can't send them more than they actually use. So if you're using 100 fixtures in your warehouse, we can only ship you 100, not 200. And obviously that undermines the integrity of the program. And then the utility pays us for making that available to the business community. So it literally takes probably 2 minutes on a landing page. Fill it out, send it to us, you're done.
That is fabulous. And you guys ship it, you pay for the shipping.
We do. We pay for everything. There's no hidden expenses at all. There are some minimum, like if we don't work with people who only need 1 light bulb or 10 light bulbs. The average business, as I mentioned before our call here, uses about $3,000 worth of product. We've done up to millions of dollars worth of zero cost upgrades for large institution universities, and you can read a lot about those on our reviews on trustpilot.com. Just type in OEO and you can read about some of those success stories. But we do work across the country. Again, just type in Chamber of Commerce OEO, and you'll see we populate in all the utility-friendly areas that will cover the entire cost of the upgrade. So that's our claim to fame.
I know lighting has changed over the past 10 years. So with that being said, why should businesses care right now? Is it just about saving money, or is there something more to it?
Great question. For me, being for OEO, being a for-profit company, as most companies are, the primary driver is, the bottom line. That's what keeps us all in business, able to pay our bills and keep people employed and whatnot. And lowering operating costs are key to that. So, if you a really simple takeaway to give you the economics behind it, to operate, say one of your girls leaves your 60-watt light bulb going in the closet all year long, or one of your boys. If you leave a 60-watt light bulb burning in a closet or anywhere, wherever it's used, it's going to cost the person who pays that electric bill about $60 a year. So 60 watts operating 24/7, actually the math works out to almost exactly $60 a year. So if you put in a 10-watt LED light bulb, kind of like the one that was offered to you at your home there by some provider, I guess, on the residential program, that would go make your costs for that same light output only $10 a year. So 60-watt light bulb burning 24/7, $60 a year. A 10-watt LED burning 24/7, $10 a year. That is the math on it. And so in the business community, a lot of warehouses, as an example, might use what's called a 400-watt metal halide light bulb. That's what we call a legacy bulb, high HID, or high intensity discharge. They're like the big light bulbs that you see light up in street lights around the country. They're slow to come on, and they don't give the greatest light in the world, but they're energy hogs. So those particular bulbs, also used in places like the Costco's of the world, although many of those have upgraded, that's a 400-watt light bulb. So a 400-watt light bulb operating 24/7 at 11.5 cents a kilowatt hour. That's a key number too. I like to use 11.5 cents because it equals $1 a watt. That would be 400 watts, 24/7, $400 a year. That can be easily replaced by an LED light. That's a 100-watt light bulb, only $100 a year. Gives you far superior light output. And by the way, it can be upgraded at zero cost. So there's huge savings to be made. And not only will the LED light bulb only cost you $100 a year, but that's when it's being lit. Because LED can have controls easily attached to them, also at no expense to the user. It means you can control your lights, dim them, do whatever you want, control them with your iPhone. So in the old days, when those street lights come on, as that example, takes a while to warm up. You got to stand there. The light output's poor. Doesn't last that long. About only 3 years. Those lights burning 12 hours a day, and you can't do things like put the old technology on motion sensors, because you can't stand there and wait for the light to show up, to light itself. Because LEDs are instant on, instant off, and can be dimmed and scheduled, you can tell each and every single light bulb what to do. So in that example I used before, you've got a 400-watt light bulb in a warehouse that maybe it's a 24/7 operation. Doesn't really matter. Everybody has their own, hours of operation, and you can extrapolate operating costs from there. But if you were a 24/7 operation, you've gone from a 400-watt down to that 100-watt LED. Great, you save $300 a year in operating expenses. But beyond that, you can also have the controls on the LED, which tell it, you know what, I only want you to light up to 100 watts worth of real bright LED light. But when you don't sense anybody being around you, I want you to drop to 10%. Well, guess what? 10% of 100 watts is only 10 watts. So now you've gone from 400 watts down to 10 watts, or $10 a year, when that light's in its dimming configuration, or dim setting, which are really easily programmable. So there's all kinds of really cool things that you can do. So
Yeah, no, that's fabulous, and thank you for explaining that, because I mean, I'm just doing the numbers in my head, and for a hospital, for a something with multiple rooms, multiple, not just one big giant warehouse, but something with many rooms and many lighting,
yep,
much lighting. You're talking about there's a whole bunch of lights that are just on and not being used at all, and just
correct.
being charged for you for being on. Now let's talk a little bit about another benefit. So many years ago, I used to have a storefront. Somebody came in and told me about changing my what is it, fluorescent, those big long ones? Are those
Yep,
fluorescent?
fluorescent
Okay.
4-foot fluorescent tubes,
Now,
yep.
mind you, this is 20 years ago, and told me
Mhm.
to go from the yellow to the white because it's a mood changer. So
Yep,
let's talk a little bit about that because beyond the savings, which is substantial, right,
yes.
and controllable, it actually switches moods and maybe even buying habits and people's willingness to spend more money at your uh, local store, restaurant, or whatever it is. Am I right?
Correct. Well, it's, I'm very sensitive to light, I've been in the lighting business. Everywhere I go, the first thing I do, and the people with whom I work, we look at light bulbs all day long, it makes if you're in the shoe business, you probably look at people's shoes all day. Well, when you're in the light bulb business, you look at lighting.
Right.
And when my wife and I go out to dinner, if they've got a very white, bright light, the first thing I do is turn around and go find a restaurant that's got a nice, cozy, soft light atmosphere. So I want to relax, right? It depends on what the task at hand is. Here I am looking out my window in a beautiful Chicago day. It's bright, it's white, and it's 5,000 Kelvin color temperature. As a human being, that's what I want to see in the middle of the day when I'm active and doing my tasks. And at nighttime, when I'm relaxing, I want to see a softer light. So depending on the environment, that's going to dictate what the color is of the light or whatever the mood might be. So in a warehouse, if you're putting watches together, you want to have a nice bright white light so you can see and be sharp and alert. Um, and if you're in a schoolroom, you might use on those fluorescent tubes that you mentioned, you might want to use a 3,500 or 4,000 Kelvin color temperature light bulb where it's not so bright where you need sunglasses. You're listening and you're studying. You're not like staring at an article. And for that, you need a softer light. In a hospital setting, you mentioned hospitals, they use about 3,000 and 3,500 Kelvin temperature. When you're trying to recover as a patient, you don't want spotlights on you. You want to feel good about your environment. So it is dictated, and we do have technology now that we can change the actual color temperature of the one light bulb by adjusting it on our iPhone or whatever. So you can change wattages, you can change color temperatures, and set the light level that you need with the mood that you need for the application that you have.
Are there any rebates or tax breaks available to business owners who want to upgrade their lighting?
Yes. So the rebates are what we offer. Whether it's through us or anybody else for that matter that can offer such a program. In our case, we cover the entire expense of the upgrade. Usually, the installations on the company itself. They're already changing light bulbs anyway, so a lot of people do that internally. So the rebates, yes, they're there for the eligible business community, assuming you're, you know, Baltimore Gas and Electric or Delmarva or whoever the utility might be, as long as you're eligible, which means you pay an electric bill to them, or somebody who uses their service lines like in dereg power places. But whoever owns the lines going up to your building, you're eligible for those rebates as they are offered. So, and that's, of course, where we hang out is in those rebate-friendly areas. As far as the tax incentives, there is something called a Section 179D tax deduction, which means if you lower the operating costs of your building by a certain percentage, maybe it's 20%, 30%, that the building owner is entitled to about $1 per square foot tax deduction for their building. It requires some study. Usually it doesn't make sense for buildings that are smaller than 10,000 square feet. But as far as any tax breaks, that would be the one tax break. As far as rebates, that again is paid uh, out of the utility to the benefit of the chamber members.
And for any business owners listening today, what would be the first step that they should take to explore contacting you or getting their rebate, let's say?
So the easiest thing to do would either be to, one, give us a call, and I'd be happy to provide our phone number, 800-553-2112. Takes about 3 minutes. We answer the phone within 3 rings, and you talk to a seasoned LED expert. They'll ask you, what's your business? What do you do there? What kind of lights do you use there? They're either fluorescent lights or metal halide lights, or perhaps even LED right now. And it might be time to re-up on LED because they've become about 100% more efficient than they were, 10 years ago. So we ascertain what the particular lights are, tell us where you want them to go, we ship them out, and then we do the rest with the utility that doesn't involve you. It's a super simple process. We send over a 1-page form if somebody wants that says, what's your name, what's your address, how many of this light do you have, how many of that light, how many outdoor lights you want, off they go.
Gotcha. And so that I imagine for the more simpler situations, but how does OEO support, let's say, businesses going through a more complex or have more complex needs, better yet?
Sure. So we've done steel mills, we've done foundries where people are like, you know what, I don't want to, with large Fortune 500 companies, small mom and pop places. Um, we, if they don't have the ability to change their lights themselves, which just think about it, if you're in an office environment right now, you look at the ceiling, you probably got 4-foot fluorescent light bulbs in there. What we would do is ship you 4-foot LED light bulbs. Well, however you're changing your fluorescent light bulbs right now, that's probably the easiest way for you to upgrade to LED. If it's in a warehouse application or you need lifts or, perhaps a church or something that's going to require some special ability to get up to the existing fixture, that's where we can send in our team to provide the lights at no cost. The installation would be separate. And whether you use our installation team or your own, it doesn't matter to us. We still provide the lights at no cost. But we would advise for sure the people or any of the business community what we think the best solution for them would be. We are product agnostic, and send samples out and let them put them up and see if that meets their needs. Which we're not going to send them out unless we know it will. But I think that that's the easiest and simplest way to move forward. Either you do it yourself or we'll do it for you or find somebody to do it for you.
John, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I really enjoy this topic. We're lights all around us, right?
Exactly. I've enjoyed meeting you, Eric, and hopefully people enjoyed listening to this. And we wish you luck with your LED upgrades.
Absolutely. Thank you. And all of John's information is in the podcast description. So please reach out. They are a chamber member and take advantage of this great rebate and this great program that we are already paying for. So let's take advantage. Take care, John. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric.